Welcome to the Crunch McDouble Show.
There we go. Welcome to the Crunch McDouble Show. I'm your host, Crunch McDoubles. This is the only show where we break down the Pathfinder 2nd Edition Remaster Player Core 2 rules into manageable bites of explosive knowledge and power for you to use in your game. Today's show, Champion Causes. Do you remember how a champion cause worked in the original 2nd edition? There wasn't much choice. You would choose a deity from a big list. The deity would have a couple of alignment options. Then based on the alignment you chose, you would be assigned a cause. It worked like a funnel from a lot of choices down to no choices at all. In the remastered Pathfinder, we don't have alignment anymore. Instead, you just choose a cause that works for the theme of your champion. In the end, your choice for deity and the cause work together to create the same kind of champion that we had before with the alignment-based system. Let's look at how this works. All right, the choice of deity is going to give you the major framework for your champion's motivations. When a champion chooses a deity, they adopt the deity's areas of concern, their edicts, and their anathemas. This paints a broad strokes picture for what your champion represents and how they want to impact the world. After selecting a deity, the champion chooses a cause, which is essentially a personal mission that defines how they will carry out their deity's ideals. While the deity sets the overarching moral framework through edicts and anathema, the cause determines the specific path the champion takes to uphold those principles. Here is an example. Let's say I'm a champion of Abadar, seeking to bring civilization to the wilds of the world. My anathema says I can't engage in banditry, piracy, or steal. While that seems straightforward, let's think about how that plays out in the game. What happens when I run into a bandit or pirate in the world? I know Abadar is against those things, but what exactly does that mean for my character? Does it mean I'm supposed to kill pirates and bandits on sight? Or is it enough just to stop the immediate act of piracy or stealing? I know what the values of the deity are, but there's some ambiguity for how a champion should carry that out. That is where the different causes come into play. An Abadar champion with a Redeemer cause might seek to redeem the pirate, while an Abadar champion with a Justice cause would be concerned with making sure they paid the appropriate just penalty for their transgressions. In other words, the cause further clarifies and informs how you carry out the edicts of your deity. Let's look at what is in a champion cause, just so we know what we're talking about here. The first section begins with its title. The title is helpful for identifying the name of the cause. This may or may not be followed by holy or unholy, which indicates whether the cause requires the champion to be sanctified or not. Next is the all-important flavor text, and we all love that. And finally, we have the added edicts and anathema for the cause. That's part one. The second part down here is the more mechanical part. You get a reaction called a champion's reaction. This is followed by two upgrades, one at level 9 called the relentless reaction, and the other, a whopping 2 levels later, at level 11, called the exalted reaction. And that is all there is to it. A cause is really just an added ideal with a new edict and anathema and a special reaction based on that theme. That's all. There's not a lot to it, but now we get to choose one of these. So let's look them over in no specific order and kind of get familiar with them. No specific order. Starting with the worst. Desecration. Desecration, a cause that's not likely to see much play because it requires unholy sanctification, which just doesn't fit most campaigns. Even the book agrees with me there when it says unholy sanctification for a champion can be extremely disruptive for a typical game. In addition to its niche appeal, it also has some problems mechanically. Selfish Shield, while it's nice that it triggers when an enemy damages you, it has a decreased amount of damage mitigation compared to the rest of the champion reactions. Champion reactions traditionally give 2+ your level in damage mitigation, but this one is only 2+ half your level. Additionally, this reaction lets you add a little more spirit damage to your strikes against the target. Yeah, it's really not that much damage though. Next up, we have Iniquity, the other unholy cause, coming in at number 6. Its core reactive destructive vengeance triggers when you take damage. While that's a solid start, things get a little bit unusual from here. You actually take an additional 1d6 damage yourself, and in turn your attacker takes 1d6 damage. This damage scales as you level up too, adding another d6 to both you and the attacker at 5th level, 9th level, 12th level, 16th level, and 19th level for a whopping 66 damage at 19th level. But that's not all. Your strikes against the attacker also deal an extra 2 spirit damage, which scales at 4 at level 9 and to 6 at level 16. Those are serious damage boosts. And at level 9, the Relentless reaction kicks it up a notch by adding your Charisma modifier and persistent spirit damage, stacking even more pain onto your foes. And then at 11th level, the Exalter reaction turns the tables on all your enemies in your aura. Each enemy within your aura except the original attacker takes half the damage you deal to that attacker, creating a devastating AoE effect. The flavor here is spot on. This cause truly lives up to its name with its sheer destructiveness. Coming in at number 5 is Liberation. Perfect if you're drawn to a more chaotic playstyle. What sets the Liberator apart is its reaction, Liberating Step, which has additional triggers beyond just taking damage. While most champion reactions only trigger from damage, this one also activates if an enemy grabs or restrains your ally, which is a nice touch. I'm all in favor of things that increase your opportunities to use reactions. When Liberating Step triggers, 3 things happen. First, if your ally took damage, they get the standard 2+ your level in resistance to all damage. Second, they can attempt to break free from effects like grabbing, restraining, immobilizing, or paralyzing, either by making a new save or an escape attempt as a free action. And third, if the ally is able to move, they can take a step as a free action. That's a solid smorgasbord of effects. At 9th level, the Relentless reaction adds your Charisma modifier in persistent spirit damage to the triggering enemy, but only if they were using an effect to grab, restrain, immobilize, or paralyze your ally. That's a bit limiting. And since it's the only damage aspect of this entire reaction, it loses some points there. However, the level 11 Exalted reaction is pretty impressive. It lets all allies in your aura take a step as a free action when you use Liberating Step. Unlike many similar abilities that require allies to use their own reactions to step, the Liberator's allies step for free as a free action. Bonus points for that. Overall, this cause doesn't rank high for me though because it's overly situational and doesn't pack enough punch in terms of damage. At number 4, we have Redemption. Honestly, this one has never been a favorite of mine. Okay, I'm going to be negative here. Its core reaction, Glimpse of Redemption, triggers when an enemy damages your ally. When this happens, you offer the attacking enemy a choice, repent or refuse. If they choose to repent, they deal no damage and they just wasted their action. If they choose to refuse, your ally gains 2+ your level in resistance to all damage, and the enemy becomes enfeebled too. That's a solid debuff, effectively slapping a -2 penalty on their attacks and damage. If they're a strength-based character, it's definitely worthwhile. Definite bonus points for that debuff. At 9th level, the Relentless reaction adds your Charisma modifier and persistent spirit damage to the enemy. And at 11th level, the damage resistance spreads to everyone within your aura, including yourself. This makes your champion reaction particularly useful against area of effect attacks. However, when used this way, the resistance is reduced by 2 for everyone. This is a decent benefit, but not overwhelmingly powerful. What really bothers me about this cause is the need to ask the GM a question every time you use this reaction, knowing full well what the answer will be. It turns into a repetitive option, non-option situation that feels more like a chore than a strategic decision. Plus, overall, the lack of significant damage in this reaction leaves me wanting more damage. Minus points for the annoyance factor and the underwhelming damage potential. Number 3, obedience. This cause is one of the new and more exciting options, especially for those champions who favor law and order. It introduces some unique mechanics that set it apart. The reaction Iron Command is triggered when an enemy within your aura damages you, not your ally, which is quite rare for non-unholy causes. In fact, this is the only one. This alone earns bonus points for being a unique trigger. When Iron Command is triggered, your enemy faces a tough decision: kneel or refuse. If they kneel, they drop prone as a free action. If they refuse, they take 1d6 mental damage, which scales up to 6d6 by level 19. This follows the same damage progression as the Destructive Vengeance reaction, but with a key advantage: you don't have to take the damage yourself. Extra points for this solid damage output. Also, your strikes against the attacker deal an additional 1 spirit damage, increasing to 2 at level 9 and 3 at level 16. Yeah, it's easy to overlook that. It's not a lot of damage. The decision is considerably tougher than Glimpse of Redemption's choice: repent or refuse. Iron Command delivers substantial damage without offering a saving throw, which might prompt some enemies to drop prone in hopes of avoiding multiple dice rolls of damage. However, by doing so, they sacrifice an action to stand back up and then expose themselves to potential reactive strikes when they attempt to stand up, making it a risky choice. At level 9, if the enemy refuses to kneel, the relentless reaction adds your charisma modifier as persistent spirit damage. Nice. At level 11, the exalted reaction spreads out minimal damage, 1 per damage die, to all enemies in your aura. Although they technically have the option to drop prone, it's unlikely that they will do that when the threat of damage it's a pretty small amount of damage. So it ends up being a small area of effect damage ability, which is pretty nice for a reaction. That's great. The main drawback of the obedience cause is that it doesn't provide any damage resistance, which is a significant downside. Despite this, I find the obedience cause to be a solid option due to its potential as a damage-dealing reaction. In no particular order, number 2, Grandeur. This is another new and intriguing option among the champion causes. The Grandeur cause has a strong connection to the celestial realms, which adds a fascinating layer of divine influence to your character. This makes Grandeur an excellent choice for Nephilim-themed champions or any character with a strong affinity for the celestial realms. Flash of Grandeur triggers in the traditional way when an enemy damages your ally, and both the enemy and your ally are in your aura, and boom, imperious divine light flashes out from you, surrounding your foe. This one gives out that standard 2+ your level in resistance to all damage, which is always a welcome defensive boost, but what really sets it apart is the additional effect. The attacker is affected by Revealing Light for 1 round. So what does it mean to be affected by Revealing Light? A creature under this effect is dazzled, which forces them to make a DC 5 flat check whenever they try to target anything. Furthermore, if a creature is invisible, Revealing Light reduces that to only being concealed, which is great. That's a significant downgrade. If a creature is merely concealed for any reason at all, this effect removes that condition entirely. No more concealed. This won't be necessary every time, but when it does work, it will be really helpful. Adding Revealing Light is a strong tactical advantage. Essentially, you're casting a level 2 spell with no saving throw, and it lasts to the start of your next turn. It's a powerful effect that can seriously disrupt your enemy's plans. Bonus points for this versatile and impactful reaction. The revealing light effect creates another little wrinkle that I like a lot in this one. At 9th level, when you add in your charisma modifier and persistent spirit damage to the attacker, they can't recover from this persistent damage while affected by the revealing light. What does that mean? It means they are guaranteed to take that spirit damage twice, not just once. This adds just a little more touch of needed damage in a really interesting celestial sort of way. And then at 11, all enemies in your champion aura are affected by revealing light for 1 round. Now every monster in your champion aura needs to make a flat check just to target someone. That's nasty. Overall, I like the theme of this one. I like the extra tick of damage after 9th level. I like the defense in this one with both the resistance and the added defense from dazzling enemies. This one is great. I like this one. Number 1, and still the reigning champ, the Justice Cause. This cause, which was previously known as the Paladin, continues to be the top choice for many champions, including my own. The Retributive Strike reaction is the centerpiece of its appeal. It not only reduces the damage your ally takes, but also allows you to make a strike against the enemy. At level 9, this reaction becomes even stronger with the addition of persistent spirit damage equal to your charisma modifier. At level 11, the Exalted reaction lets each ally within your aura spend a reaction to strike the target at a -5 penalty, giving your entire team a chance to jump in on the reaction. The reason Retributive Strike stands out as the best reaction is simple. It deals the most damage, and you mitigate damage at the same time. It lets you make a weapon strike against the enemy using all your weapon runes and striking runes, all without a multiple attack penalty. Pound for pound, this reaction deals the most damage of any of the champion reactions. And I think they got it right from a flavor perspective as well. Retributive Strike embodies the essence of justice. When somebody harms your ally, you hit them back, delivering swift retribution. So bonus there. Bonus points there. So that's it. Finally, my concluding thoughts on the champion causes. It seems to work. It seems like they were able to come up with a way to phase out alignment, but still keep the same paladin flavors in the champion class. And they even went a bit further by giving character designers a few more options to choose from. It makes things a little more interesting and gives us a little more variety. So good job with this new system. I like how they did that for the champion. All right. And that is it. I'm your host, Crunch McDabbles. This has been the Crunch McDabbles Show. Survive Galarian with no alignment on your champion. Unless it has the iniquity cause, then we're all going to die. Okay. Let's look at how this works. It's an introduction. It's an invitation to join me on a journey. They're edicts and they're anathemas. This paints a broad strokes picture for what your champion represents and how they want to impact the world. Okay, I'm on board. I'm on board so far. Let's go. Let's see what's next. Let's look at what is in the champion cause, just so we know what we're talking about here. The first section begins with its title. The title is It's so funny that this is new. The title is helpful for identifying the name of the cause. Think about that. Think about that for a second. This may or may not be. That's a solid smorgasbord of effects. What? Continue? Okay. At ninth level,